Stacey Dombrowski. Welcome to My Matters, a show where we can answer all your questions about mind, body, and soul. Every 5 minutes, someone is diagnosed with dementia. Tonight's show is about dementia and Alzheimer's and the impact it has on our community. Joining me tonight is Judy Cohen, founder of L'Chaim Retirement Home in Toronto and Dementia Support Seniors Day Centre. With the rise of dementia and Alzheimer's, Judy has transformed her retirement home into a Montessori environment and engages all her residents into a full-day programming using this philosophy. Also joining me is Gail Elliott, a gerontologist and dementia specialist, founder and CEO of Dementiability Enterprises. Both Judy and Gail implement a very unique method of therapy using Montessori and validation therapy. Welcome to My Matters. Thank you so much for joining me tonight and being a guest on My Matters.
Pleasure.
Thank you. So this is such an interesting topic, dementia and Alzheimer's. I mean, I've been wanting to do this since I started with this show, with My Matters. So I'd like to ask you both, first off, how did you start this career of getting into learning about dementia and Alzheimer's?
Go ahead.
Judy?
I own and run a retirement home for 12 years. And about a couple of years ago, I saw that the residents don't get enough with physical care, and I started looking around, and I came across Gail, and we took a workshop, and I got inspired and fascinated, and we transferred the home to a Montessori philosophy, just the whole home Montessori environment, and with the Montessori philosophy, and the residents are doing amazing. So we opened a day center to help people that are in the community and decided to age at home. And they come there for the day, and they do all activities with the Montessori philosophy. The whole home, the whole philosophy is different than any other place that you know, and it's my passion.
And I was just going to say, and you're so passionate about it. I mean, when you first approached me, it was like you really wanted to share the information and get the word out.
Yep.
And I can see it's like you really enjoy doing what you do.
I love it.
So thank you for bringing that to the community. And you as well, Gail, like how did you get into?
Well, in university, I saw that I had to write some papers on whatever demographic we wanted, and I chose older adults. I went to the library, and there were very few books, yet the population pyramids clearly showed that we were going to burst. So I started writing papers, and I spent a lot of time with my grandparents, had a lot of family that lived into their 90s and into past 100. And then I went on to graduate school, and where I studied in Florida, they had a amazing Suncoast Gerontology Center. And so I started in those days, it wasn't dementia, it was organic brain syndrome. It was all totally different in those days, all of what we knew about the disease. And ever since, I've just had this passion to change the lives of those living with dementia.
Amazing. And so you as well are extremely passionate and very well spoken about dementia and Alzheimer's, and all I've heard is wonderful things about both of you and what it is that you do. So what is the Montessori method, and how do you bring that to dementia and Alzheimer's?
Montessori methods for dementia are about finding meaning and purpose for people who have cognitive loss, early, middle, late stage, based on their needs, their interests, their skills and abilities. So what we know about them in the past and what we know about them in the present, formulate a plan. So one of the things that's the most important thing is we know the individual. So I can't overstate the importance of knowing, the way I teach this is the how is in the wow. So it's who is it we're working with? What observations can we make? What do we know about this person we're working about? Needs, interests, skills, and abilities. That helps us formulate a plan so we know what to do. And the Montessori method is working with a person in a prepared environment. So all the things you see here.
Yeah, which I want to play with and see exactly what they are as we get more. We have some time, exactly, but I'm definitely interested.
That's the prepared environment. So if you create an environment where there's things to do, you stimulate the brain, you stimulate the body, you stimulate the social experience for people, and for those in all stages. Maria Montessori was a mentor of Helen Keller. Mm-hmm. So a big piece of the Montessori philosophy is sensory stimulation, because she said if anybody could negotiate their way through the world with no vision, no hearing, no speech, sensory stimulation for what she accomplished has to be important. So those are the 4 areas of
Interesting.
programming. So you create an environment that supports the person. It takes the whole person into account. And there's a set of principles that go with the Montessori philosophy, such as things are developed at the person's level of ability. So it's concrete to abstract. So a child learns from very concrete and then moves to abstract. But when you're working with cognitive loss, some people are able to think abstract, others are not. So very concrete items like holding this fruit is part of the principles versus using words and thinking and patterns that are capable up here, but not here, as you lose your cognitive capacity.
It's interesting because I never thought of it for dementia, but I did send my son to Montessori growing up. So just the thought of how those two are correlated, I'm excited to really dive in to see how that plays out as we get older in life and how that applies.
Well, Maria Montessori's vision was to have children who were independent. Now think about this for dementia care. Independent, so now they're toileting on their own, they're dressing on their own. They can, one of the other activities we could have brought with us is sorting cutlery. Now we're doing for ourselves, but the difference is there's a cognitive loss, a memory loss, or a sequencing loss. I don't know how to sequencing. So if I put the template on the table, now I know where things go. I've got the ability to move my arms and my hands, but I don't remember where things go. So you support the environment, and now I'm independent. The next thing is I give myself, self-esteem was another part of revision. If I can do it for myself, or I don't need you to take me to the bathroom now, isn't that self-esteem?
That's what they taught my son in Montessori when he was growing up, very independent.
That's it.
If I could ask you, what is the difference between dementia and Alzheimer's? Because I'm curious myself. Is there a difference? And why do they come together when you were discussing them?
Oh, because dementia is an umbrella term. Okay, so it's the overall term for all of the dementias. Alzheimer's one type, vascular, frontal lobe, Lewy body, mixed dementia, and all other forms of dementia come under this category here. Each one of them has very distinct distinguishing features. So if you look at Alzheimer's disease, it's the plaques and tangles on the brain, and it depends on where the plaques and tangles are on the brain that determines what the loss is.
I see.
So if it's vascular, somebody who's had a history of strokes or other vascular disease will likely end up with a vascular, and atrial fibrillation will probably end up with a vascular dementia. So they often go together then?
That
with different types, but somebody can have a vascular and an Alzheimer's.
Excellent. We have to go to break. When we come back, more on dementia and the impact it has on our community. Stay tuned. Welcome back to My Matters. Tonight we're discussing dementia and the impact it has on our community. So, dementia is huge. I mean, I was looking at the statistics, and it impacts a lot of people, like more than I even imagined. What are some resources available for dementia, since it's impacting us so greatly?
Well, they have memory clinics that people can go and get diagnosed there, and it's good to get diagnosed early stages. Most of the people, by the time they're diagnosed, they're halfway through to their dementia, which is because a lot of people are in denial. They don't accept the fact. And from the memory clinics, they have some medications. Unfortunately, the medications are very short-lived and long-lasting side effects. And then people be cared at home as much as the family can take it. There is a big problem with the caregivers burnout, and then they have to be placed in a long-term care facilities. So
But there's a lot of resources because it is something that is much needed.
Yeah.
There are resources, and one of the programs that Judy set up that's stellar is that she created a day program, and that for the early stages, that is an excellent option for families. Sometimes it's people with dementia don't want to go. They don't need it. They don't want it.
Is it because they don't want to leave their house?
They don't think.
They don't
They
think
need
they
it.
need to.
They don't think they need it.
So
don't
what are the benefits of actually going? Even if they don't think they need it, why would somebody go even if they don't think they need it? What would be the benefit?
There are a lot of benefits. First of all, it's relief to the family. Dementia care is 24/7. You can't leave them a moment alone.
So is that the burnout we're talking about? Or there's burnout from both ends? It could be even from the homes that they're in or the burnout from the family members, or either or.
Family members get burned out because a lot of them, I think this is one of the biggest reasons. It's 24-hour care. So you go to bed at night, and mom may get up in the middle of the night, spouse may get up in the middle of the night and try to leave. Well, that's worrisome. Now I have to have one ear listening all night to hear if something else, if she's going to get lost, and that's why there's programs in the province of Ontario for an emergency response.
And I think we've all experienced this in some sense, where somebody in our family is getting older and they need care, and it's like, what do we do? How do we go about this? How do we tell them that they need a home or they need extra care?
A big problem too is that people are very bored at home and they're unengaged, and this brings depression, behavior issues. They're very difficult on the spouses. Sometimes we run a support group for caregivers. I run them, and people say, it's not my husband anymore. I don't know who this man is. And when they bring them to L'chaim, to the retirement home, she says, I love him, but I can't take it anymore. I just want him gone. And it's very hard on the caregivers. So if they go to a day center and they're busy all day, they sleep at night. They sleep so much better.
They have rest. So
they're tired.
I like what you just mentioned about not knowing who that person is that you've lived with for 30, 40 years. It's like all of a
50,
sudden,
60 years.
60 years exactly. And you need respite all of a sudden from this person that you know that you have grandchildren with, and many of them. What does that look like? I mean, I know it's exhausting, but I've heard of stories where they revert to babies, and you hear that as we get older, we can revert back to our babies. And maybe you can explain a little bit about
It's
that.
not actually reverting back to babies, but what's happening is depending on where the damage in the brain is, the cognitive capacity is diminished. So they need more support for things. And that's what the Montessori approaches, dementiability approaches are all about. And it's called dementiability, so we're focusing on abilities. And there's a lot of research on it's called excess disability. It's disability that comes from disuse. And if we could help families and people understand and learn about the disease and what's possible in the earlier stages, we may not see this same kind of devastation in the years ahead. There's a lot of research around excess disability, about neuroplasticity of the brain, and the research is very clearly showing in the positive neuroplastic, positive neuroplasticity is what it's called. It's cognitive opportunities, social opportunities, exercise. These are all the things that are part of what we do in the Montessori methods.
So I definitely want to get to methods, but before we do, I want to know, are there specific causes that, I mean, we were talking about genetics, but is there anything else? Is it like a stressor in life or trauma or anything like that? Because I know in mental health, I mean, addictions are caused by trauma, but dementia, Alzheimer's, I know we don't have a cure for it, but
There's
no cure.
But if we knew if we knew all the causes,
we would have
we would have a solution. But at this point, the research on mice is very clearly showing that we don't know how to stop it at this point. But what the research shows that if we can put the Alzheimer's diseased mouse, so they have an Alzheimer's brain, in an enriched environment, their brains don't diminish at the same level, speed, rate, and their brains are much healthier when they die.
isn't that amazing?
So, and those same principles are what this is all built on. So it's a question about what's happening and why. Those answers aren't there yet. But what we do know about brain neuroplasticity, what we know about excess disability, what we know about engaging mice and people, the brains are healthier when we give them something to do. So it's understanding the level of ability and we call it circumventing their deficits. So we work with what they have spared, and there is memory that's spared and memory that's not spared. And I can tell you about that if you want to do that now or later.
Yeah, I think definitely we'll talk about that, but I want to know more about, how does that actually impact the whole society as a whole? I mean, there's a lot of us that are suffering with many people that are really dealing with elderly that are, it's really impacting us as a whole right now.
It's a big burden economically on the government, and there won't be enough long-term care beds.
I know.
Soon.
Absolutely. So we have to go to break, and that's why I don't want to continue on. So I didn't want to start a whole conversation. So when we come back, we will talk more on dementia and Alzheimer's, and we will definitely get to the table. Stay tuned. Welcome back to My Matters. We are discussing dementia and the impact it has on our community. So let's go back into what I was trying to say before the break about how the impact it has on the community. And so how does it impact the community and the resources that we have?
Well, one of the things that's a very positive initiative at the moment is the Ministry of Health has given a lot of money to the community, long-term care, hospitals, community outreach programs to support. Every community has been given some money to use in the way they would like to develop the resources in their area. So across the province of Ontario, there's different local health integrated networks. Different ones have rolled it out in different ways. So some have people who have been hired, trained, and now they're going into homes and into long-term care homes to teach people. And this is one of the methods that's on the agenda for training.
Amazing.
So there's a number. One of them is called PIECES, and it's assessment and understanding the disease.
It's a different method.
Yeah. So this is the what to do about it. The others are more, the GPA is how to deal with escalating behaviors. This is how to prevent them. So this is to keep people engaged in life. But Deb, I want to congratulate Deb Matthews, Minister of Health, for recognizing the need in the community for supporting, it's not just dementia, but other mental health problems as well. It's the largest sum of money that's come to the province to deal with a system that needs it at this point, because there's still so much to be done.
Absolutely.
But this is a good start, and I hope that this money will continue because it's already, I'm seeing practice changing in parts of the province where they were the lead areas to get started. And so much great work has been done so far. I hope that we don't stop. I hope
I do
that this
too. I
is
mean,
the
statistics are
beginning.
high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do consulting in a long-term care facility on dementia floor. We got approved by the government. They paid us money. They approved the expense for the home, and the changes we've seen, it's unbelievable. Like how people are engaged and what it looked a bit like before and what is it now. It's unbelievable.
Amazing.
We reached the
How-
unreachable.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to tell you a story about
Sure.
a place, Grandview Lodge in Dunnville, and the staff. It started with a couple of staff taking the course, learning about it, and together working as teams. They've transformed the whole home into a new philosophy of care. Somebody from the Ministry of Health went to do a tour, and they said, "Where's the dementia area?" And they said, "You're in it."
Oh my gosh.
Because everybody was engaged, everybody had something
Isn't that
to
amazing?
do. People,
Yeah,
like everybody has jobs if they want a job. So somebody,
When you put your mind to something and you put like love and care into it, it just grows.
it's
really
amazing.
does.
It's simple philosophy and it's brilliant.
It is,
And you come to L'Chaim and you see the people so engaged, and people come, but this is not a dementia.
Because you're putting your heart and your soul into it, and there it's
but it's strategies. If you have the strategies that work and the passion, and
Absolutely.
somebody like Judy that will take the passion and say, "Let's create the change," we can create the
it's
change.
vision.
Yes.
So let's talk about some of the
Okay.
props that you brought. And I also, I don't require name tags, so let's talk about the name tags, because I want to address them.
So one of the things that is important to know, and what people learn when they take the workshop on Montessori methods for dementia, is memory loss occurs in dementia. That's true, but that's declarative memory loss. There's two types of memory loss, declarative and procedural. Declarative memory is for facts, events, biographical history, world events, etc. That information is difficult to retrieve out of your brain. So I always teach, take it from here and put it out here. So one of the things is, if I come to visit you and you have dementia and you see my name, I can go up to you and say, "Hi, Stacy, it's nice to meet you." And you can look at me and say, "Hi, Gail," because your reading ability is spared, and now it connects us. So that social connection is enhanced by reading my name
And they don't
tag.
have to feel any shame that they don't remember or know, because it's right there, and therefore they feel good about themselves. It gives them a sense of security, which is great.
Not just security, connection.
Connection, security, all
when
that.
I reach over and shake your hand and you can read my name tag, and while you're sitting here, I bet you felt really good. You didn't have to
I wouldn't
remember
even-
our names.
if I messed that up, I'd have serious problems.
When I come in the morning, if I don't wear my tag, nobody remembers my name, and I'm there every day, all day. But when I come with my name tag on, when I come in the morning, the resident, "Good morning, Judy," because they see and they know. So you have to support a memory.
Yes, of
That's
course.
all.
And if every resident were to wear a name tag,
They can.
doesn't matter if the staff are new or not, now they go up and say, "Oh, hi, Mrs. So-and-so," or "Hi, Stacy." And now we're connecting because there's nothing more personal than our name. In Australia, I work with the Alzheimer's Society of Australia, and they're rolling out a campaign where all staff and residents wear name tags. But if you'll notice, it's large print. It's not the traditional. So if I have to have the traditional, my name, my job title, etc., that could be on the other side of it.
I see.
But this side. So what we do is we teach that this is spared capacity, but they can still
Okay.
read. They
I'm just going to hold it up.
they just couldn't read when they were younger.
So-
we do a reading assessment test and ask them if they would help me decide what size font I need for things I'm creating. Now I test to see what size they need to be able to see. So once we know that, we can create all kinds of supports, such as, this is my memory book. But one of the things you'll see is a lot of people with dementia don't remember they've aged. So this is a memory book showing me as I'm young and as I'm
So this is really
older.
interesting because inside this, you have, inside is their a
Young
picture of them
picture.
young and a picture of them old.
So-
They remember themselves, yeah.
We actually do have to go to a break, and I want to explain the importance of this because I think it's really important, and it's great that you've created this entire, like it's amazing what you've done here with this whole book. But when we come back, let's discuss the book and why it's important.
Sure.
Okay. Stay tuned. Coming up next, we'll discuss more on dementia. Welcome back to My Matters. We are discussing dementia. So I was looking at this fabulous book as we were on break, and I almost forgot to come back to Mind Matters because it's a picture. It's actually your family in here, which is great. And I was saying that this looks like my grandmother. It's like everybody's grandmother when they're young. It's great. It's like black and white, so you can't tell the difference. But let's talk about why this is important and how this comes into play in dementia.
Okay. One of the things, again, because we were saying that declarative memory is lost in dementia, but procedural memory is spared. And part of the procedural memory is they can still read. So one of the things you'll see, we were talking about caregiver burnout as one of the issues that is faced by a lot of people when family are diagnosed with dementia. And one of the reasons is that they can't remember. And one of the
Is there a
things they
certain
can't
page that I
remember,
should-
that's fine. One of
Okay.
the things they can't remember is they've grown old. So now they look in a mirror, and when they're looking in the mirror, they go, and they're talking to the person in the mirror. So if we can put photos like this is you younger, and this is you now we can help her to remember, because the more, this is the priming, this is the procedural memory. And the more they do this, the more they look at it, the more we help them to remember, this is me.
That they make the connection back.
So one of the things that we do in doing this is, and we've done this many times, and I'll show somebody, so we line up pictures and say, which ones are you in? And it's from early to late. Well, she's in this one, this one, this one. Well, that's my mother. And that's because they don't know they've grown old. So now we ask them which picture they like best, and we take a picture. And one of the things we do in day programs in long-term care is we have a photo day, a glamour day. So we take pictures of them all made up nice.